What's up guys, BMac here with Dip Traders, and today I'm going to talk about the after hours setup that I use to take advantage of moves like this one. This is all after hours, and these moves can be anywhere from 25%, 50%, all the way up to 100%. So let me go through how I find these setups and how I trade them. So I'm going to bring over my handy dandy notepad here. And we're going to first go over how I find the stocks that are in play for the after hours setup. And this is very important because you can trade all the stocks that you want, but unless the stocks fit these criteria, it's not going to work. It's just not going to work. And these setups only come around once, maybe twice, rarely 3 times a month. So it's very few and far between, but when they happen, they're very profitable. So let's get into it. What's the number one thing? The number one thing is blue skies. We don't want any resistance above us. We don't want any bag holders, nobody dumping shares on our head. We want blue skies above us. So that's number one. Number two is going to be a large ATR move. So if we take a look at Vrpx here, this was the day that the after hours setup was in play. August 17th right here. So you can see that this day was clearly far and away larger than any of the other days on the chart. Okay, you can also see that it's at all-time highs. There were no other highs. I can't go back in time any further. So we had a very large ATR move, and the idea behind the large ATR move is everybody's eyes are on this stock. We want everybody's eyes tuned into this. Okay. Number three, it has to be finishing at the high a day or around the high a day. Four isn't totally necessary, but ideally the stock doesn't make a new high a day in the last hour of trading. So no new high a day in the last hour of trading. Okay? And the reason for that is just to build energy for that move higher. Okay, we want that breakout to be nice and strong. So these are the 4 criteria. Pretty straightforward. If you follow these 4 criteria in finding stocks to trade after hours and use this strategy, you will be profitable. If you don't and you cheat, and potentially a stock doesn't have one of these, well, outside of the 4th one, if it doesn't have all 3 of these, well, it might not work out in your favor. Okay, so how do we actually trade the setup? How to trade the setup. The first thing you do is wait for a 5 to 15 minute shakeout. So as soon as after hours hits, it's going to get pretty whippy, pretty volatile. What we want to do is just wait to see what the trading range looks like. A lot of the times we'll have a fake out to the high a day. Retail traders get trapped in that, thinking we're going to break out, we're going to go. Then we pull back, they all get spooked out, they sell their shares, we put in a fresh low, and then we bounce from there. And then as we make highs from there, that's when we can buy in. So after the 5 to 15 minute shakeout, we're going to buy 80% to 100% retracement off the shakeout low. Okay, and number 3, we're going to put our stops below the shakeout low. We shouldn't revisit these lows. And that's it. Now the question becomes, when do you take profit? Where do you look to take profit? Because it's a blue sky setup and there's no resistance above us, whole dollars are a potential spot. Any back-to-back large screen candles, especially as they're getting larger, is a spot to take profit. You can look based on risk reward. So 2R, 3R, 4R, those kind of things. Okay, so let's take a look at some examples and how we traded them. and I'm going to give you some good examples, some bad examples, what happened in each of them. So the first one here is Vrpx. I'm going to go all the way back to the beginning of the day so you can kind of get a sense for the action that ensued. This is 9:30 right here. So basically all day you can see we're making higher highs all the way up to, looks like this was about 1:30. Okay, and then let me draw a vertical line at the end of the day. So this is the end of the day, right? So we have our 5-minute shakeout right here, 5 to 15-minute shakeout. Okay. Now off this reversal, this move right here is going to go really fast, really fast. So you have to have your finger on the trigger ready to get in, otherwise you're going to miss it. I know it seems like, wow, well, we're going to do 100% retracement and, you know, it just doesn't seem like I should be buying here. Well, after hours, all bets are off, especially on plays like this. You have to hit the button. So don't expect this to go 100% and then pull back a little bit, give you a nice little pullback so that you can enter and then a rip. It's not how it works. So you got to have your fingers on the trigger for this particular setup. In this case, it did give you a chance to enter. It did pull back. But yeah, so enter is right here, you know, somewhere between around $16 and your stops go below $14. So you have $2 of risk, and you can see that within about 30 minutes, 40 minutes or so, we were up at $22. So off of that move, you're looking at 4R in about 30, 40 minutes and about 25%. Not too shabby. Okay guys, this is Mrin, and this move actually happened on June 28th. So it's not this massive green candle that you think it is. It's actually this one down here. So if I draw a trend line at the top of the high, or just a price level, you can see that this actually is the all-time high. Let me go to the weekly. Oh, actually, okay, I'm sorry. I'm mistaken. This is actually not the all-time high. However, we are at the yearly high. So still a decent setup. We are at the yearly high. We do have a solid range extension. Go to this candle. So this candle is clearly bigger than anything that we've seen this year, and we're finishing right at the highs. So let's look at the action that happened during the day. So this was 6:30 a.m. all the way up to almost the close. I drew a line at the close, and then we have our 5-minute shakeout. Let me see if I can zoom in here for you. Boom, there's our 5 to 15-minute shakeout. The low comes in at about 10 minutes after the bell. And boom, we put in a high, we pull back a little bit, and it's off to the races. And this one, I think, gave a little bit more than 5R. This was a solid play. This was a solid play for sure. And then you can obviously see the day that followed afterwards. I mean, it was absolutely massive. Little bonus for you guys, we could just take a look at the following day, because I mean, this following day was again another range extension, and we finished on the high. So let's just take a quick look at what that looks like. So again, this is strong all day up into the close. However, in this particular scenario, we actually never get triggered on the trade because the 5-minute shakeout is basically this. And you could even include this here. So it could be like that, or it could be like that. But either way, we really never make it back to the 80%, 100% retracement to trigger us into the trade. Okay, let's look at another example. This was a one that actually didn't work. It never gave us an entry. So I want you to see what this looks like. And this was BKKT on, looks like, October 25th. Okay, so BKKT was pretty strong all day. You can see that this clearly meets all of our criteria. I can't go any further back in time than that. So this is the all-time high on this particular day here. So it was at all-time highs. It was having a huge ATR move, and it did finish at the highs. Okay, so huge halt up, it looks like. And then I was really hoping on this day that we would hold below this high of 28. Wait until after hours to make this move, but about 15 minutes before after hours, we ended up making the move, and it never actually slowed down at after hours. So what I was expecting to happen, what I was hoping to happen, was that this would pull back, and we get a move back to like 28 or something. Establish that 5 to 15 minute range so that we can put a stop loss in. But it never gave us that entry, and therefore we never got in this one, and we missed it. And this was a huge move. Okay, huge move. So that doesn't feel great. But at the end of the day, it didn't give us an entry. It didn't set up how we wanted. And where do we risk off of in this case? We have no risk. So we could risk off this tiny little swing low, this prior breakout area. But it's not the setup that works for me. It's not the setup that I defined. So I just didn't trade it. And you know what? You win some, you lose some, you miss some, and that's okay. That's part of the strategy. Okay, this is another one, HX. The day was October 20th. So let's see if we can find an all-time high here. This is the all-time high. So we can check that box. Okay, massive ATR day. So this was just kind of on a slow ramp up, and then it went parabolic. And this was a huge range extension on this day, and it did finish at the highs, so now we're looking for this after hours play. Now, in this particular scenario, this was kind of like the end of the day. And then 4 o'clock. So right at the end of this box is the start of after hours. So right before the start of the after hours, we actually put in a new high, which I always hate to see. I want to wait until after hours to make this move, but it is what it is. So in the first 5 minutes, we do pull back. We give ourselves that range, and then this move happened so quick. I actually missed this one because it happened so fast. And this is why you have to have your finger on the button. And honestly, I was trying to buy the 80% retracement. I should have had my order in to go at the 100% retracement and just gotten filled at whatever the ask was. So this one actually, the buy here was at 1940. The low in your stop would be at around 18 bucks. And then it immediately gives you 1R. Pretty quick. This one didn't work out as well as some of the other ones. It did pull back a bit. I think maybe the next day it took off. Yeah, it did take off a bit more the next morning. And usually these things do continue into the next morning and go up even further. But it is a little bit riskier holding through the overnight session. So this was a small 1R winner, but I wanted you guys to see that. So here's another example on BBIG. And it is actually this day right here, which is October 14th. So I want you guys to ask yourself, is the setup in play on this particular day? On October 14th, this daily candle right here, is BBIG in play? So is it making an all-time high? No, it's not. Is it finishing at the high day? Yes, it is. Is it finishing on the high day on a relatively large ATR candle? Yeah. It's a larger ATR move, but is it the largest ATR move? No. So is it in play? No. It should not be in play today, but a lot of people would get faked out and think that it is. See what happens in this case. We actually never get triggered in on this, which is nice. So if you do pick a wrong stock, you kind of do get saved in this instance. So BBIG on this day is a great example of one that people might think would be in play, but is not. Remember, all-time highs and a huge ATR move. Okay, here's another good one for you guys. This is XENE on 10/4. And this is a daily chart. Let me go to the weekly chart just so you guys can see. all the way back to 2015, 2014 even, this is the all-time high on the stock. So a really nice gap up and then finishing on the highs. But let's look at what's happening on the daily chart. So is this a great ATR move? I'd say this is a pretty good ATR move. It's not like A+. I'd give it an A-. I'd give it an A- for sure. So the market closes right here. Okay. And our 5-minute shakeout is basically this range right here. So if you buy this range, if you buy you do the plan 80%, 100%, you buy it, you will eventually get 1R on this. I mean, you won't get stopped out. However, is this a setup that you want to be buying? I mean, it does give you 1R, sure. Is it the setup that's going to give you 3R, 4R, 5R? Probably not. And the reason is it did the move 30 minutes or 15 to 30 minutes before the close, which stinks. It really does stink because this was a prime setup for a nice move in the after hours. However, I mean, this pretty much consolidated at this level all day, or had a high at this level all day. And then 15 minutes before the close, you can see what happened. We ripped right up to this new fresh high. So for that reason, you can decide whether you want to enter it or not, but you have to tamper expectations. Is this a 3R, 4R, 5R runner? Probably not. Okay, guys, last two. This one is CRVS. So this one doesn't fit all the rules, but I just wanted to show you it anyway. The high, or the day that we're looking at here, is September 17th. The high on this daily candle is actually 579. So I marked this out here so you can see that this actually isn't gapping to all-time highs, or at least yearly highs. But let's take a look at what it does intraday. So all day, this is putting in higher lows, higher lows, higher lows, all the way up. And then we have our vertical line at the close. Now let's draw a box around our 15-minute shakeout. Okay, so the time that we bottomed right here was 6:12. And again, this probably happened super, super fast. Your orders would have to be ready if you were going to play this. And again, if you're going to play this, it's okay to play, but your expectations should be tampered. Right? We're not looking for that 3R, 5R move. In this case, it does give that 3, 5R move. But since we weren't at all-time highs, I think you have to tamper your expectations a little bit. And so, yeah, you can see the move that ensues from here. Okay, last one, guys. We're going to end on a good one, and this is Neuro from July 20th. So let's take a look at the action that happened intraday. First of all, yeah, this was clearly gapping to all-time highs, finishing at the highs, all that good stuff. Let's take a look at the intraday action. So grinding higher all day. Okay, and then this is our close. And now this one's a little tricky. The question is this a 5-minute range? Is this a 5-minute shakeout? And I don't know, it's kind of up in the air. I mean, this candle right here is 1604, and it's making a new high by 1607. Or sorry, I think this is actually 1606. So the question is, yeah, is this a 5-minute shakeout? Who knows? Because if it is, you do get stomped out right here. But if you wait, is this big enough to be a 5-minute shakeout? And that's what I'm not totally sure on. If you play it safe, or you re-enter the trade maybe after we put in a high here, we come back down and we stop at anybody who took the original trade. And then we do another 80% retracement here, so this gives you a place to enter. And then then it's off to the races. So this one is a little tricky, but I think it does work out in the end, especially if you re-enter. So pretty solid. Anyway, guys, I hope you found the video educational. I tried to give lots of examples so you can kind of get some context of how it works, how it doesn't work, and what scenarios it works better, all that good stuff. I think too many YouTubers out there, they only show you all the best setups, only the ones that work. And I think in trading, the most important thing you can teach yourself is what doesn't work. So I hope you guys found this educational. If you're not already in the Discord, check it out. We call out plays like this all the time. And I hope to see you guys in the next video. Like and subscribe. That would really help us out. Cool. Thanks, guys.